You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast for part 2 of our 3-part show. We're going to be talking about the Women's IPL or Women's Premier League. I'm not really sure what the name is. I'm not sure
Premier League. Women's Premier League.
Women's Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I like that name, but we'll plow on. I've got a bit of a history with names, I think, haven't I? On this Kings 11 Punjab.
Wait till we get to the Lucknow franchise, eh?
Yeah, is that the Warriors?
The Warriors.
Yeah, that's good. I like the Warriors. As we were talking about that, the auction was today, the 13th of February, we're
It's a groundbreaking day. That's what
we're going to be reacting to the groundbreaking day.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. This is the biggest moment in women's cricket, I think, is my view.
Oh, that's a big statement. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to let people know, though, that you can put coal in the Cricket Podcast furnace by becoming a Patreon of the show. We've had a couple of recent sign-ups, so thank you to people RK today, I think. Maybe rejoined, but yeah, thanks very much. From $5 a month, you get bonus podcasts, you get Discord access, you get a monthly data pack or reward if you're in the mid-tier, and if you're in the top tier, you get to hang out with us in not real life, but on the internet. So take a look at that. It's in the show notes. Patreon.com/the cricket pod. It's the best way to support us and to keep us in business. Ross, groundbreaking day. You think it's the biggest day in women's cricket? Tell us why.
I think it's finally when women's cricket is, from a purely business sense, the biggest people who in the world who want to make money out of cricket is the BCCI more than anything, and they've managed to turbocharge that industry. And here they have now created, the next big thing, right? You saw people going for hundreds of thousands of pounds today, which women would never have got that opportunity in the sport so far. And some of these contracts are way above what you're ever going to get paid from a central contract, even for the likes of England, right? So I think Ecclestone's contract is higher than what she earns in a year, which she can earn in the Women's Premier League. And this is a tipping point, I think. And all of the work that's gone into getting it to that point of professional contracts, of the 100, of the Women's Big Bash, all of those competitions have contributed to this moment right here. And there's been a hell of a lot of work to get them there. And this is only the beginning, which I think is phenomenal. And we'll go through some of the teams, but what I like is about when back in 2008, when the IPL was first there, you've got teams who have picked kind of big name stars. You've got other teams trying to be a little bit more canny with kind of data analytics and the scouting that they've done. I think this is the melting pot, and we're right at ground zero here, and I think it's amazing.
Oh, that's a good introduction. What we'll do, I think, in this part, maybe have a look through the teams, decide who we think won or lost the auction, and maybe a couple of the surprises we saw as well. Normally we divvy the teams out, don't we? And we do like a discussion in the round. But I guess we, because it happened today and we were at work, we're going to have to do it slightly on the fly. So marks out of 10. Does that sound like a good approach?
Yeah,
we like marks out of 10. Right. Well, let's start with Delhi because they are the first teams that I have notes on. They splashed the cash. Shafali Verma, 2 crore. Marizani Cap, 1.5. Meg Lanning, 1.1. Alice Capsey, 75 lakh? It is 75 lakh, isn't it? So the point in there disturbed me. I don't know why it disturbed me. And Jess Jonathan, the Aussie quick as well. The big names. Oh, I missed Jemima Rodrigues.
Yeah.
Probably the actual biggest name they signed, just skimmed over. I think I'm going to throw it out there straight away. I think they have won the auction. I would give that an 8 or a 9, probably. Agreed. Out of 10.
Yeah.
Anyone have any more detailed thoughts than just listing names and numbers, though?
I think what I like about it is that it's got balance. It's they've gone a fairly big on the homegrown names with Jemima Rodrigues and Shafali Verma, and Shafali Verma will be, if they hang on to her for a long time, will be a dynasty perhaps for them. But I mean, Alice Capsey again, they've gone for a good mix of young. They've got experience in Meg Lanning and Cap, and they've got value, I think, as well out of Capsey and Jonasson. So You've got your all-rounders, you've got youth, you've got experience, you've got batting, you've got bowling. It's well put together, and I think they've clearly very well thought it through. And I would very much agree that it's a strong-looking side. So let's get ready for them to finish rock bottom.
Definitely. Two other like small notes on them before we move forward. First, I think were the only team to pick up an associate player, weren't they? Which means they could play 5 overseas. Tara Norris from the USA. We'll see whether they make it in or whether they don't.
They played in England quite a bit. Tara,
okay, so. Yeah, all right. And they've gone with a home wicketkeeper. I think before, I don't know if we might be talking about this on Discord with some of the patrons about how my speculation was that overseas wicketkeepers would go for quite a lot of money because the wicket-keeping depth in India isn't that great, but they didn't do that, and I would say that was a weak point in the team, albeit the overseas players they have picked up are very good, so probably nets off.
There's a high ceiling on a lot of those players.
Gujarat Giants. Are they going to be Ahmedabad Bad Girls?
Yeah, Ahmedabad Girls.
I think that's the Ahmedabad Girls. Yeah, cool. Big names we need to know about here. Beth Mooney, the Australian batter. Ash Gardner. They went heavy on the Aussies here. Annabelle Sutherland. Georgia Wareham and probably Sneh Rana would be the biggest local name. They have, quite clearly, just from the names I've read out there, gone fairly heavy on.
They've gone for the Aussie approach. They've gone for Aussies are the winners of women's cricket. Let's get as many of them as we possibly can.
It's not a stupid thing to do, but you are going to be in a situation where you're quite reliant on them. Now, we've spoken in the 100 before, I think, Ross, that in the women's game, sometimes your star players really can carry a side. For me, though, that's a little bit too top heavy. I'd probably be in the 6 or 7 range for them. Well, what do we give Delhi, 8 or 9? So I think definitely, around the 6 probably for Ahmedabad Girls. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think picking up Sophia Dunkley, who's the England opener, and has demonstrated that she's quite explosive, and DeAndre Dottin, the West Indian. I think they've got good options there, and I think sometimes you get into a position where you only it's almost pointless having some overseas players. But I think in this position they've done quite well. But yeah, it's not as strong as Delhi. But maybe not as weak as the next team I think we're about to talk about.
I think 6 of their 7 most expensive players were overseas, which tells you where their priorities were.
Cool. Yeah, that's I think that's a bit top heavy. But yeah, we'll move on to Mumbai Indians. They went big on a homegrown wicketkeeper, and that's top of my list here. So Bhatia, 1.5 crore there. They also picked up Amelia Kerr, Harmanpreet Kaur. Yeah, that's a good one. Nat Sivabrunt and Pooja Vastrakar as other players. I don't think they've done a good job. I'm just like, there's not to say that these players are bad. I think they've spent too much on a homegrown wicketkeeper there, who I don't think will add that much. I think some of their overseas are. Well, I think the overseas players they're going to end up playing are not going to be the best overseas players in the tournament. I think they've bungled it a little bit, Ross, and you seem to be along the same lines as me. I'm going to give them a 3.
Yeah. Is it Sky for Brunt or is it Skiver Brunt?
Siver.
Yeah. I think 3.2 crore is quite significant. Is quite a significant outlay for that, and it limited kind of what they could do.
Yes.
But again,
I didn't really get that as well, to be perfectly honest. I think there's a few players, and I'll let you carry on in a second. I think there's a few players who have sold for their ODI reputation and not their T20 reputation. But carry on.
And this is why I think the almost the links are back to what happened in the 2008 kind of IPL men's game. I kind of think there's parallels to draw there, right? The statistics that they've got available to them, actually they've not got a really wide ranging pool of data to back up from. Are the strike rate rates actually that valid when it comes to this kind of stuff? Probably not in quite a lot of instances. So I think this is very much a kind of a suck it and see approach. I think they've got players there who've played at the international standard for quite reasonable amount of time, and that's what they typically kind of want in this scenario. They want a bit of experience. They've obviously got Izzy Wong bringing up kind of the youth on that front, who offers a bit of a difference maker from a pace perspective. But it's I'm looking at a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You were going for 5. I'm
4.
3.
I'm feeling
Yeah,
4.
Okay,
cool. I think I'm excited to see Izzy Wong there. I think that'll be a really good opportunity, and she's a very exciting player. But if you look at sort of the comparison between the most expensive players and the least expensive players in terms of the average price for them, I mean, there's like 5 players in there at 10 lakh, and it's just
Kind of what RCB does in the man's game.
Yeah, it's got the feeling that they've not quite managed to get that right, but we will see.
I think that's right. Haven't they got about 50 paces as well? It's all a bit.
Yeah, it's well.
The Mumbai Indians, I don't know, like maybe they just don't really know how to run a franchise, and they've been lucky. It just seems more and more that way every time you actually see them make decisions as an organisation. It's like weird. Next team, RCB. It's good to see. There was the rumours they wouldn't participate in the WPL, and I think it's good that they are. I think it's a shame CSK aren't involved. I think it would have been good to have the big 3 franchises carry over. But anyway, a little bit of a divergence.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Digression.
Digression. That's a better word than divergence. Sophie Devine, 0.5 crore or 5 lakh, depending which way you want to do it.
50 lakh.
Big one.
Depending depending on how you want to do it, you either want to do it right
5
or do it
lakh's
wrong.
an absolute bargain. How have they managed that?
Smriti Mandhana, 3.4 crore, the biggest.
She was the first one out of the pot, wasn't she? And I liked RCB's approach. They were statement. That is what RCB were.
It was a statement. They've also got Elise Perry, which I guess we'll be happy with, 1.7. Risha Ghosh, who's smashed some runs in the Pakistan matches. We haven't got that much time for women's T20.
And again, gloves.
We'll do some of that, but India Pakistan was on yesterday. We probably should have thought about that when we planned the show, but she smashed it at the end. And gloves, I think that was a good pickup. And Megan Schutt, and Renuka Singh. Probably, I think I've covered all the headlines there. I should have put the players in order of importance.
Yeah, it's okay. You got Danny Van
Niekerk in there at 30 lakh as well.
Yeah, couldn't pass the fitness test for South Africa, but he's going to use this apparently to get herself back into the South Africa setup.
Speaking of South Africa, it's quite nice to see that the carnage in the international setup is at least applied to both the men's and the women's side of things.
Yeah.
I thought the RCB.
What do you make of them though?
I think this is a good lineup. I think there's a lot of experience in there. I think if you were to take what has worked for kind of the other kind of T20 competitions, actually a bit of experience goes quite a long way. I think first tournament round as well, having kind of leaders in that dressing room, I think is going to go a significant way. And I think they're probably in with a good chance. And this is for Ricken, one of our Patreons. I reckon Royal Challengers.
Finally, some silverware.
Finally, I reckon RCB women are going to win the trophy sooner than RCB men. I'm giving this as I reckon it's almost as good as for winning this year. This is an 8 out of 10. For future years, it's probably a 6 out of 10. So I'll settle for a 7.
Okay, yeah, I had them in the slightly below Delhi pool as well, but not the bottom. I think they've got a good chance of making the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to watching them play. I think one of the fun things about all these auctions is that you get to see combinations of players obviously you can't see in international cricket play together, and how that works out, I think, is an interesting plot. Then we've got the last team, the UP Warriors with a Z, Warriors. Elisa Healy, I went for a wicketkeeper there. Right, so I'm going to get this right. 70 lakh.
Hey.
Yeah. Good. Talia McGrath, I thought we'd go for way more than what she went for. 1.4 crore. Devika Vaidya, 1.4. Deepti Sharma, 2.6. Sophia Eccleston, 1.8 crore. Shabnim Ismail, 1 crore. I think they've done right. My take on this is they've done quite a good job, and they've managed to spread the wealth around a little bit, built a fairly even team, whereas some of the others, I think, And it can work in the women's game. I do think having a top-heavy team with some people who will dominate. I think, though, they've built quite a well-rounded team.
They've got the best spinner. They've got the best women's spinner in the world in Sophie Ecclestone. Yeah. They've got the fastest women bowler in Shabin Ismail. Talia McGrath was number one in the world up until Ash Gardner took over from her. And Alyssa Healy she kind of speaks for herself on that record, right? So they're a really, really strong kind of overseas contingent. Lauren Bell is the up and coming kind of England pacer as well. And Deepti Sharma loves a mancad. So what's not to love?
I think that's a 7 or an 8 probably. I think I would have in order Delhi Warriors, Ahmedabad Girls, RCB. Oh, I don't know, maybe the other way around on that one. But I've said it.
Is it not Indians. The worst name in franchise cricket though? UP Warriors. I mean, it's.
I like it.
Is this 2001 replacing an S with a Z at the end of a name? What's going on?
But nobody knows what UP stands for unless you follow
Pradesh.
Yeah, no, but if you're from outside of the world, nobody in America is going, oh yeah, utter pride Warriors, are they? Nobody is doing that, and at least then you kind of go, Bangalore.
So it's the Up Warriors.
Yeah, I just
up the Warriors.
Yeah, I find it. It's a poor,
dreadful.
They've paid a shit consultancy to come up with that, and
like I said, 2001.
Yeah, I really like this team, and I think overall, I think having 5 teams actually to start with, I was a little bit reticent before. I thought they should have probably had 6, but actually it's concentrated some of the players, and hopefully the quality will be there. The only shame is that there's not more associate players in the pool, and I kind of thought that actually they missed an opportunity, BCCI, not to just have like almost a dedicated associate players slot.
Lopsided though, isn't it? Associate nation cricket in women's.
This was my thought process of going. They've only got 6 overseas slots
in the squad,
yeah. But they could play. You could play 5 in a match if you've got an associate player.
Yeah.
So my thought process, obviously, they're going through is the best associate player for name a country as an associate nation actually more valuable than kind of a squad filler domestic player, and I think. I don't know. It's going to
maybe. I don't know.
And that was, I think, was the trade-off. And I think but then the other part is, would you rather have
a punt,
6,
isn't it? At least.
But then the other trade-off is, would you rather have 6 fully fledged internationals kind of around your team, bringing up the talent? And that's probably the bit that I'd rather have.
I suspect quite strongly that the scouting isn't really there to know who the best associate players are. Like, you might be better off with the best woman from Thailand, say, than the 6th best Indian player available to you. But, name me one player from Thailand.
Can't.
Yeah.
I would have been able to 2 years ago when we were covering the Women's World Cup and they were there.
We should actually briefly mention the Women's World Cup. It's underway. Everyone's played a round of games with England playing 2 and Sri Lanka playing 2. England and Sri Lanka are top of their respective pools with the Aussies and the Indian women's team in second place in both. The standout game, I think, was definitely India v Pakistan yesterday.
Pakistan bowled it.
They did a little bit, yeah. They did. They didn't take enough wickets early. And Jemima Rodrigues is very good, even though the India team don't seem to want to acknowledge that. And as you said, Risha Ghosh as well was excellent. But Pakistan really did have a chance to win that. I think they managed to get the rate up to about 10 and over. And Dar, let's blame somebody. She was the one that went wrong. England Ireland today was quite funny as well. England were cruising to victory. They were 70 after 6.5.
They forgot they had to finish the game
overs. Yeah, they needed 30 to win and managed to. They were 30 for 6 off the next 8 overs. Like, completely ground to a halt, but they did win. We'll do that in a bit more detail, I think, as the tournament progresses. But
England and India on Saturday as well. Just want to look.
That'll be good. Tuning in for that. But we are up against it on the time front, so we'll take a break and we will come back to talk a little bit of England men's. I think we've got about 2 questions from Twitter this week. So, ciao.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.